And tonight, President Biden is set to use his State of the Union address to promote his vision for a second term. He's also expected to warn that Republican frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, would be a dangerous alternative. Biden's expected to highlight his accomplishments in office and what still needs to be done. The president is coming off a Super Tuesday win, setting him up for another expected rematch with Trump. And joining us now is Augustana's political science professor, Dr. Paul Baumgardner. Doctor, always great to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about the State of the Union tonight. What are you expecting to hear? And are there any maybe surprises that we might see?
I think there is more pressure on this State of the Union address than any State of the Union address that Joe Biden has had while president. I oftentimes think that, though, when it comes to an incumbent president who's in re-election mode. We're only a few months from the general election, and I think it's still imperative that Joe Biden tries to shore up support, both within his own party, but also independents who right now are making a decision between Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Now, in addition to thinking about the kinds of topics that we may hear about in the State of the Union, I think it's also going to be very important to look at the kind of self-presentation of the president. I'm reminded of Federalist number 70, Alexander Hamilton, talking about what we want in an executive, right? Energy, activity, stability. I think President Biden is going to try to demonstrate energy and activity while also doing the best he can to have a very clean presentation, one that minimizes any mistakes or any gaffes while he's standing up there.
But that's been a huge topic because of his age.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in recent weeks, we've seen national polling that has caused Democrats a bit of consternation. We see a majority of voters who voted for President Biden in 2020 now demonstrating concern about his age moving into this 2024 election. And we've also seen a growing number of Democrats in primaries such as the Michigan primary and the Minnesota primary that have said, hey, no preference, hey, non-committed. So I do think it's imperative that the president tries to give an olive branch both to the wing of his own party that is uncommitted to him, as well as maybe some erstwhile Nikki Haley supporters who are still making a hard decision between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Okay. I know you don't like to make predictions, but I do want to talk about the Supreme Court a little bit. They had a ruling just out about whether or not he would appear on the ballots.
That's right.
But there's another ruling that we're expecting to hear.
Yep.
This is kind of a tricky, murky situation, it seems like.
Yes, there have been constitutional law scholars that actually advocated for the Supreme Court not to take cases such as these. There's a doctrine that the Supreme Court likes to say that it holds fast to. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's called the political questions doctrine. Right? We have these 9 unelected, lifetime tenure judges who do the best they can to put on a face of apolitical standing, right? Try not to unnecessarily get embroiled in partisan disputes and ideological wars. There's still a lot of people that are upset that the Supreme Court weighed in Bush versus Gore 24 years ago. So I'm uncertain how the Supreme Court is going to come down in these future cases, but I do know there's still a lot of question marks about whether or not this 6-3 conservative majority on the court is being too much of an assist to the Republican Party and is offering too much support to former President Trump.
All right, Dr. Paul Baumgardner, we always appreciate your insight.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here.
Yep.
All right, President Biden's remarks are scheduled to begin at 8 tonight, right here on ABC. You can also watch the address live on WQAD's News 8's website, mobile app, and the News 8 Plus apps.